Hi everyone. On May 12th, the Holy Orthodox Church celebrates the memory of a young man named John the Vlach, or the Romanian. John was a young boy who had been raised in all piety by his parents in Romania, and he was someone that was very obedient to them, who was studious and prayerful even from a fairly young age. Unfortunately, at that time, as in this time as well, we see instances of forced sexual slavery, of abuse of all kinds, and these are things that raise alarms with us today, worldwide, not just in the United States, as well they should. But it should be noted that this is hardly anything that was new, as the young John was going to find out. At that time, there came a number of Turks from Ardeal who were on their way to the Danube, and they happened to capture a large number of young slaves. Now, the slaves up to that point had been absolutely free, and most of them were young men, and unfortunately, the holy martyr John was among them. These young men were to endure all sorts of hardships and terrible times on their journey, as the Muslim overlords were very harsh on them. They were hungry and thirsty and beaten often. It was very difficult and a life that none of us would want to endure. For John, unfortunately, after the overlords decided to divide up the slaves among them, well, he was taken by a Turkish soldier who was a very nasty and mean man and developed a very strong attraction for the young John. In fact, he was so attracted that he was trying to entice John into an unnatural act. We don't know exactly what it was, most likely sodomy of some kind, and John refused. He said, "I'm a Christian. This is repugnant to me. I don't want anything to do with you or with it." Well, the man continued. In fact, he assaulted John and tried to force him into the act. And John, being at that time only 15 years of age, responded in a way that probably most 15-year-old boys would, and began to fight back when the man was attacking him. And he got in a blow, and the blow was so hard that his Turkish soldier overlord died immediately. He fell to the ground completely dead. Now the other soldiers who were in the area and saw this immediately bound John, put him in chains, and dragged him all the way to Constantinople, treating him roughly the entire way. When they finally got to Constantinople, it was decided that John should be made the slave of the wife of the man whom he had dispatched in self-defense. The wife also, showing what kind of family this must have been, immediately became attracted to John's beauty and began enticing him as well into all sorts of sexual situations that John again was repulsed by. After many attempts, he finally said, "I am a Christian. I believe in the Holy Trinity. I want nothing to do with you or what you're trying to do to me, and I certainly am not going to give in and would rather die." Well, the wife was very upset at this point, and so she then went to the authorities, and they took John and threw him into a prison where he languished for quite a while, receiving beatings and all sorts of tortures for a long period of time. Well, eventually, John was sentenced to be hanged. And so they put the rope around his neck, and he gave up his holy soul as a martyr to our Lord Jesus Christ in the year 1662. So these things come upon many Christians in different parts of the world as well, and is something that we can only admire when they are absolutely refused. Now, we also know, of course, that in many cases, particularly in the early times in the reign of Diocletian, many of the young women had leapt out of towers and cliffs to their deaths to avoid being assaulted in any way. And some might even ask about John, well, why didn't he just turn the other cheek when that man assaulted him, and instead he actually killed the man? Well, John's intent, of course, was not to kill the man. And as the Synaxarion makes so clear, this man's death was a judgment against him, because John was just trying to protect himself and his chastity and his faith. Would it were true that more of our young people today would have this same kind of response and repugnance when they are attracted in any way to certain situations which are going to compromise them. St. John the Vlach from Romania certainly shows us a good way to take this spirit of our Lord Jesus Christ in everything that we do, and to protect the gifts that he has given us, especially that of chastity, and especially when you are at such a young age as 15 certainly is. By his prayers, may all of us, and especially all of our youth, remain protected from such things as they grow and learn about the glories and beauties of following our Lord Jesus Christ.